apparently ended when I sat down, because the vast majority of the rest of the comments were basically a defense of the welfare state. So rather than continue to hammer nails into the coffin, I'd like to entertain you with some encouraging news for your welfare status and big government types of it. It's called The End Game, and I dedicate it to Ed Gudak. If you want to turn the United States into a socialist country, what strategy would you adopt? Joseph Stalin is reputed to have given the following advice to William Foster, leader of the Communist Party USA. Work for more government intervention and control of the business activities of the people. In this way, the American people will accept socialism without knowing it. Stalin would be pleased with the trend in America since he dispensed that advice, and he would be delighted with the recent partial nationalizations of the housing, mortgage, financial, and insurance industries during the crash of 2008. The Democrats seem to have found the perfect strategy to replace free markets with government control. Their game plan is now clear: to move incrementally from capitalism, free markets, to socialism, government control of economic activity. The first stage was accomplished by earlier generations of Democrats. It was to condition Americans to view government as a player rather than a referee in all sorts of previously private markets. That is, sell the voters on a government program for some worthy cause as a supplementary aid in some important area of life, such as retirement, healthcare, housing, energy, and so forth. Thus, Social Security was created to put a modest floor under Americans' retirement income. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to help poor Americans afford homes. Medicare and Medicaid to help seniors and the poor afford medical care. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to insure bank deposits. The Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation to insure pensions, and on and on. The second stage in creeping socialism is to keep expanding government programs. Understanding the political dynamic summarized by George Bernard Shaw: the government that robs Peter to pay Paul can always count on the support of Paul. The politicians who want more government control carry the day. The Democrats have employed demagoguery against all who question the wisdom or long-term financial viability of such programs, shamelessly and unfairly denouncing them as heartless and uncaring. This pressure intimidates some Republicans into going along with fiscally unsustainable policies. As a result, Congress has repeatedly increased the vote-buying benefits while avoiding the prudent but politically unpopular steps of maintaining programs on a solid financial footing. Democrats benefit from the fiscal mismanagement that bankrupts federal programs because it precipitates stage 3 of their strategy, the crisis stage. During a crisis, the choice becomes whether to shut down the insolvent program or to rescue the program, since so many Americans have now become dependent upon it. Few Republicans are willing to tell Americans that government cannot help them during an emergency. And that gives rise to stage 4 of socialism on the installment plan, namely rescuing programs in the crisis stage by nationalizing them. You can choose to believe that Congress was taken by surprise by the looming bankruptcy of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, but it wasn't. Barney Frank and other leading Democrats who successfully blocked earlier Republican attempts to reform Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac made Uncle Sam the largest mortgage holder and de facto landlord in the country by nationalizing those two bankrupt mortgage giants. When the Federal Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation goes broke, Uncle Sam will nationalize private pensions. Ditto when the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation someday runs out of funds and banks have to be nationalized. Still looming in the future are the big 3 of underfunded future liabilities: Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. The Democrats are playing a giant game of chicken as these 3 programs march inexorably towards insolvency, being underfunded by $53 trillion over the next 65 years. Democrats reject all attempts to reform these programs and put them on a sounder financial footing. When George Bush suggested private accounts as part of a possible reform, the Democrats went berserk. We were given a peek of the future of Social Security in October, when Congressman George Miller, Democrat of California, no less, of course, no surprise there, held hearings that included discussion of nationalizing Americans' IRAs and 401k plans. Like the frog who doesn't realize it is being boiled until it's too late to jump out of the pot, at some point during the ongoing government takeover of Americans' businesses and wealth, we could wake up in a new country with the Democrats entrenched in power, overseeing it all. That is their end game. Will the Democratic strategy succeed? Having just been swept into power on a wave of expectations epitomized by the Sarasota woman who exulted, "I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage." If I vote for Obama, he's going to help me. The Democrats are in the driver's seat. And I'm sorry to say, or hear, that Don Dake turned off his hearing aid when I was talking because, well, Don, I'll tell you later about dictionary definitions, and you weren't listening. You weren't listening to my presentation, obviously. Okay, thanks.